This meeting is being recorded.
To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap. A time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, and a time to every purpose under heaven. What?
That's a little bit.
It was a little bit off.
It was way off. But good try. You wore your voice off out over the holiday.
I did, and we still got more holidays to go. So somebody tell me why I just sang turn, turn, turn. We talked about it before we started the service. You forgot already? Ecclesiastes. You know, on the various holidays, we read a different book from the part of writings in the Tanakh, in the Hebrew scriptures. So on Passover, we read Song of Songs. On Shavuot, we read the book of Ruth. On Purim, of course, Esther. And Sukkot, we read Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes was written by King Solomon, as opposed to Lamentations, which we read on Tisha B'Av, which was written by Jeremiah. Both of them are kind of dour. So Ecclesiastes is kind of like Solomon went through his life. He prayed for wisdom, and he got wisdom. And he used it for the wrong reasons. Solomon thought he could outsmart life. The Torah says a king should not have too many wives, and Solomon had 100 wives. The Torah says a king shouldn't have too many horses lest they go back to Egypt. And Solomon had a whole ton of horses. Torah says a king shouldn't be too rich. And Solomon overpaid for his temple so that when he died, the kingdom split. The northern kingdom said, we're not paying that debt. And they succeeded. And I mean succeeded, S-U-C. Not succeeded, succeeded from basically the kingdom. And they went right back to idol worshiping, and they were gone. And at the end of his life, Solomon saw that things didn't exactly work out. He couldn't outsmart life. And Ecclesiastes is his way of saying, I blew it. What does this have to do with Sukkot? On Sukkot, we build Sukkot. We build temporary, flimsy huts because that's what our ancestors lived in for 39, 40 years while they were stuck in the desert. And God provided for our ancestors, gave them food, gave them water, made sure they had water every 3 days, came to a well. Their clothes did not wear out, right? Nevertheless, the whole point of it is that they moved. They were vagabonds. They moved around a lot. Their lives were flimsy. They didn't have permanent housing. They blew it. Same way because they didn't answer God's calls, right? Moses beat the rock instead of talking to it. They complained every time. Where's water? Where's food? So life was flimsy. And yet Sukkot is the Jewish Thanksgiving. It is the fall harvest. So as with all the other two, with all three of the pilgrimage festivals, there is an agricultural component to it. Passover is the spring planting. Shavuot is the spring harvest. Sukkot is the fall harvest and the Jewish Thanksgiving. And there is a spiritual, a religious component. Passover is our release from bondage into freedom. Shavuot is our receiving of the Ten Commandments and the Torah. Sukkot is our bounty. So, why combine the dour with the joyfulness? To remind us that life is fleeting. To remind us that when you have something, if you don't have heart, if you don't have soul, if you don't have God, you have nothing. You have the material, but you need the spiritual. Why do you need the spiritual? Because life is fleeting. You never know when things are going to happen in life, when you're going to get a disappointment, when your car is going to break down and you don't have the money, when you lose your job, just when you need money to start paying off debts, when somebody very close to you dies. That is the most fleeting of all. So we have to embrace life. We have to live every day as if it was our last. That's what the sages say in Pirkei Avot. Live every day like it's your last because it just may be. You may be sickly and you may just keep living a very sick, ill existence on all sorts of medication, on all sorts of machines, and your life may go on. You may live in pain. Or you may be the icon of health, the epitome of fitness, and you walk out into the street and a car hits you and you're dead. You never know. Now, I'm not trying to be a bummer. I'm not trying to bring you down. What I am doing is saying you have to grab life and live it to the fullest. And that's the message of Sukkot. That's the message of, you start laughing, I'm going to start laughing. So, yeah. That's the message of Sukkot. So that you make sure that you just enjoy every day. You obey the commandments. You fulfill the commandments. You fulfill your life. You treasure your relationships. Because you never know what could have been. And it doesn't matter what could have been. It's here. This is the message of Judaism. Judaism believes in karma, and Judaism believes in reincarnation. You all know that? We do. But we don't talk about it. Why? Who cares what happened to your soul 3,000 years ago? It doesn't matter. What matters is it's like Dr. Hertz says in the commentary of his Chumash that we use, it's here, it's now, that's where you are. I saw something on Facebook, somebody quoted the Dalai Lama saying, you are always in the moment. There's no past, there's no future. All there is the present. That's it. That's all there is. So, this is what Sukkot teaches us. Where the huts are your flimsy shelter, make life, shelter in life. Take shelter in life. And that's the message. So let's not forget that. And let's enjoy Sukkot. Let's enjoy our bounty, knowing that it's fleeting, and let's work hard to keep it.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
can I ask a question?
Yes.
Now, do we decorate the Sukkot because of what you're saying for the joy of life?
Yes.
To go on, is that why we decorate it and don't just leave it plain?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's, Sukkot is a joyous holiday. It absolutely is a joyous holiday. Like I said, I'm not trying to bring anybody down. I'm just saying that we got to look at perspective. In fact, the fact that life is so fleeting, yes, you absolutely want to decorate your Sukkot. You want to decorate life. You want to make life as joyful and pleasurable as possible, within limits, of course. And that is why we decorate the Sukkot, because we're, not to mention the fact that we're giving thanks that we do have this bounty, that God has given us all this food and refreshment, and we can now enjoy. So yes, we're celebrating. Sukkot is a celebration, especially after we've been through one of the most solemn days of the year, Yom Kippur. We've asked for forgiveness. We've made a commitment to do better than last year. We've asked to be inscribed and now sealed in the book of life. And now we're celebrating in the anticipation that God is going to do that for us. So absolutely. Anything else? Okay.